Today I want to talk about all the books that I have acquired so far in 2026. So basically for the first half of the year. I think I have around 19 books here if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to show them in chronological order of when I bought them. This pile on January 1st of 2026, I got on a plane from Barcelona to Manchester and I went on my first little trip around the north of England and then London. And those were the books I acquired during that beautiful, amazing trip. From this pile, I've already read 4 of these books. These are the 2 that I haven't read yet. The Outsider by Albert Camus. I still haven't read anything by him. As someone that adores modern classics, this has been on my to-buy list for the longest time. The main character in this book kills someone and has no remorse whatsoever about the killing. And it says here in the back, his lack of remorse only compounds his guilt in the eyes of society and the law. The Pursuit of Love by Nancy Mitford. I have so much lore with the Mitford sisters. I first saw a video on YouTube about all the sisters, and then I actually went on this trip to the youngest sister, the youngest Mitford sister house, and that house was Chatsworth House, which is Pemberley in Pride and Prejudice. Anyways, I just love relating things to one another. Longing for love, obsessed with wines and sex. Linda, her sisters, and cousin Fanny are on the lookout for the perfect lover. If you don't know anything about the Mitford sisters, I would recommend watching this video because honestly, there's just so much lore. These are the ones that I have already read and I have already reviewed on a reading wrap-up or on my Goodreads. The first book that I read this year, I think it was the first book that I read this year, The Beautiful Cassandra by Jane Austen. This is a collection of short stories that she wrote when she was 12 years old, and you can tell that this was written by a preteen, but in a good way. Humor nowadays doesn't really do it for me. There's a handful of books that can make me laugh out loud. This one did, so maybe I should just read humor books from the Regency period. So continue with the Penguin Black classics. I have The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Perkins Gordon. This is a book that I want to reread next year because I feel like this short collection of stories, there's only 3 of them, it's going to become one of my favorite ones. The Yellow Wallpaper, The Rocking Chair, and Overture, I already know them by heart. The Yellow Wallpaper is a feminist classic for a reason. The Rocking Chair is a short story, like 20 or so pages, horror short story, and Overture, the ending actually made me laugh as well. These type of books, for some reason, are my perfect type of humor. Then I have The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I own this book in Spanish, but I didn't own it in English, and I wanted to reread it in English, so here we are. And then lastly from this trip I have The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arnim. I read this book, surprise surprise, in April. I didn't adore it because I went into this book thinking this was going to be an extremely whimsical and enchanting read. It's not that, but that's a me thing because I was expecting something else. The next pile are all gifts, and these are for Sant Jordi. Sant Jordi is a Catalan day where people give each other roses and books. It's Sant George Day in English, the 23rd of April, which is also book day. So the first one is Life Among the Savages by Shirley Jackson. This was a gift from one of my sisters. We actually went to a bookstore together and we told each other what books we would like. I told her like, I really like Shirley Jackson, I don't have this one. This is a funny account of a pitch perfect everyday family life. I think this is going to be very different from all the Shirley Jackson's books I have read so far, but her writing for me is very captivating. Then I have Acércate by Sarah Gran. As you can probably tell from the cover, this is a horror story. Mariana Enriquez, the author of, I want to say 10 Days a Night, but that's F. Scott Fitzgerald. Our Share of Night. Mariana Enriquez, who is a very well-known Argentinian horror writer, wrote a quote on the back. This was a gift from one of my brothers, and now that I'm looking at it, Mariana Enriquez also wrote The Interruption. This is a story about a girl who is slowly losing her mind. Then I have Te Receto Otro Gato by Shu Ishida. This is a sequel of Te Receto Un Gato. My other brother and sister-in-law last year gifted me Te Receto Otro Gato, and this year they have gifted me the sequel. I still haven't read the first book, but this year I'm going to read both books because I feel like next year they're going to give me the 3rd book. This is magical realism. This is Japanese, I want to say magical realism. I don't know if I love magical realism. I have read quite a few books on that theme, but I still don't know how I feel about it. But anything that has to do with cute animals, I love. So that's the reason why they bought it, honestly. And lastly, this was a gift from my mom. País en Ruinas, Amor, Guerra y el Nacimiento del Impresionismo by Sebastian Smith. He won a Pulitzer Prize. Good for him. This is an essay, a big essay. I adore essays that have to do with art, history, science, and my mother knows that I love Impressionism. I don't know if you can tell by my paintings. Well, that's not Impressionism, but still, Sorolla, Monet, and I have so many more here and here on my bedroom walls. I love Impressionist art, and we're going to Paris next year, the beginning of next year. My mom and I have actually been to Paris twice together. The next pile are books that I bought on a random Friday in Barcelona. I had a gift card that I need to use, so I bought these two books. The first one is La Guerra Total, La Segunda Guerra Mundial al Descubierto. This is a history book about the Second World War. I have so many books written by the Spanish History Channel. I adore the book so much. I think this is going to be like my 6th or 7th book. The last book that I read by them was A Great War, so the First World War, and now I'm going to read the second one. And then I have already read the second book, which is Bodas de Sangre by Federico García Lorca. I've recently talked about this book in my spring reading wrap-up. This is a play, actually not a book. This is a play written in 1932, 4 years before the Spanish Civil War. Federico García Lorca was killed in 1936 in the first year of the Spanish Civil War. Obviously any type of war sucks, but civil wars, brothers killing one another, is always so eerie and it just takes me inside. Anyways, I don't want to turn this video into a sad one, so I'm just going to talk about my last pile. These are from my last trip to England. I've been to England 3 times in the past year, and I plan on going to Scotland very soon. I'm really putting my United Kingdom visa to good use. I bought these ones on Oxford for my birthday. Whenever I go to the UK, I don't really have a budget for books because I don't buy a lot of books here in Barcelona. Well, I do buy books here, but I buy Spanish and Catalan books, not English books. I'm going to start with the books that I still haven't read. I think I haven't read any of them. No, I haven't read any of them. So, the first one, The Leopard by Giuseppe Tomasi de Lepatusa. I started watching that Netflix adaptation. I do not have Netflix, so I couldn't finish it. But I started watching the Netflix adaptation from someone else's account until they kicked me out. And I know everyone talks about the Visconti movie adaptation, but I think the Netflix one is also pretty good, at least from the first episode that I watched. The Leopard is an Italian classic. This book is set in 1860 in Sicilia. This is right before Garibaldi and Italian unification. Sicilia is ruled by the Prince of Salina, and Garibaldi is approaching. He wants to unify Italy and get rid of the aristocracy, and this is a fictionalized story of that. Then I have East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This is a big one. I didn't know it was so big, but I've been wanting to read this book for the longest time because I feel like he has really made the round on the book space this past few years. But then I saw that Netflix is going to be adapting this book into a movie. But from what I've read from the comments, people are not really liking the point of view of the movie because it's from the point of view of Kathy, and apparently Kathy is a very shitty character. I love watching comments because I love spoiling myself. The next one is White Sargasso Sea by Jan Rees. This book was inspired by Jane Eyre, Charlotte Bronte's Jane Eyre, and is set in the lush, beguiling landscape of Jamaica in the 1830s. I have to admit that I haven't read many books set in the Caribbean. Then I have The Unwomanly Face of War by Svetlana Alević. The author won a Nobel Prize for Literature. Again, I really love reading about history, and I always consume anything set in the 20th century. And I think I haven't read any non-fiction written by a woman set in that time period, sadly. So I'm going to change that. Then I have Vera by Elizabeth von Arnim. I have the Charlotte April and Vera by her. I've already read this one. Both covers are so beautiful. Whoever designed these covers, Lawrence Whitley. This is a modern classic thriller that I'm going to read during spooky season. I may be completely wrong, but I think this is sort of inspired by Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Then I have Emily Bronte, No Coward Soul Is Mine. This is a poetry. Oh, okay, also, I want to say that I bought so many books on Waterstones, and it wasn't until this trip to Oxford that they told me, do you have a Waterstones card? And I told them, no, I don't. I'm not from here. Like, I don't think I can make one. And they told me that I can. And I've spent so many hundreds of pounds there, and now I finally have a Waterstones card. Anyways, I've read my first Emily Bronte, well, her only novel, Wuthering Heights, this year, and I actually also went to the Bronte parsonage this year. I'm reading my Bronte moment right now. I wanted to continue reading more of her work. I'm going to focus on Emily this year, and then next year I'm going to start reading either Charlotte or Anne. I don't have any preference. Well, I do own Jane Eyre, so I'm probably going to start with Charlotte, and Anne has more books out. Also, I realized that with poetry and short stories, I don't like modern contemporary short stories or poetry that much. At least the ones I haven't read, I haven't been very successful comfortable with them. But when it comes to classic poetry, plays and short stories, I tend to really like them, especially if they are horror ones or they're from the Victorian Romanticism period. And the last book is Magic Lessons by Ice Hoffman. I first read Practical Magic, I think it was 2 years ago, and I first watched the Practical Magic movie last summer when I was sick, which is insane. I know that's the type of movie that I should have watched much more earlier because I really love those type of movies. Magic Lessons is a prequel to all the books. I guess this is set in the 1600s when the course starts. So I think this was the third book published, but it's like the first one set in chronological order. So I'm just going to go follow the chronological order. I'm going to read this one first, then I'm going to read the one that is set in the 80s, I think. Then I'm going to reread Practical Magic, and then I'm going to read the last book, which I think the movie, the second Practical Magic movie, I think it's based on the last book, because I think that's when like the whole course and the family comes together. Ooh, this is also set in England. When Maria is abandoned by the man she loves, she invokes a curse that will haunt her family for centuries, because magic has rules and they must be obeyed. I don't know if I'm going to buy many more books this year, maybe for spooky season. I hope you guys liked this video. Let me know if you have bought any cool books this year. I will talk to you very soon. Bye!